It's 2020, you want to get a new radio? Well, stay tuned because today we're going to find out everything about the Radiomaster Tx16S and find out, is it the radio for you? G'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today, well, we've got a pretty exciting video that I think is going to help a lot of people out there. Today, what we're checking out, it is the Radiomaster Tx16S, a whole bunch of letters, but essentially it is this brand new radio, fresh off the press. It's doing an awful lot, and we're going to find out just how good this radio is. We're going to break it down, look at its overview, look at its features, the pros, the cons, compare it to the Jumper T16, because that's what a lot of people are going to be asking, and then most importantly, we're going to take this radio out of the field, we're going to fly it around, look at the pros and cons, and find out, is this the radio that people should be buying for the price in 2020? So if you want to know anything about what radio to get, stay tuned, because this one is going to fill in a lot of the blanks. So, as a bit of an overview, you can see I've got my wonderful radio right here. Mine has been, I've got to say, perfectly customized for me. It's got these little nice UAVfutures engravings right here. But essentially what it is, this is a multi-protocol radio that you can get that binds up to all your crafts out there. So whether you be flying around FlySky, FreeSky, a whole bunch of stuff, it's a multi-protocol radio. It's got a JR module in the back. And the big one, it's coming in at around the $100 mark. I'll put some specs on the screen anyway. $100 mark for the base version. And also, I think it's about $130 for the version with the Hall effect gimbals in here. And I got to say, that is an awful lot of radio for the price. There is no way I would have ever thought that radios have come down in price this much, and it is absolutely ridiculous. If you are thinking about a good quality cheap radio, well, you really can't go past this one, and we're going to be comparing it a lot to the Jumper T16, because as you might be able to see, these two radios are very, very similar, and a good way to sum it up is the Radiomaster feels like the Jumper with a little bit more revisions in there. They've done a little bit, I guess, of extra work behind the scenes and focused a little bit more. The Jumper's been out for a little while as well. So we're going to go through it. Let's have a look at some of the features. Of course, we'll go through all the switches and all that sort of stuff fairly quickly, because as a drone pilot, most of us, we don't need all these bazillion switches and modes and toggles and all that sort of stuff, but it is nice to have, especially if you're going to have a look at some wings later down the track or some other RC crafts. So of course, we've got our two Hall effect gimbals in here. I've got a Mode 2 one. We've got our, let's go through this, 3 position, 2, 3 position, 3 position, 3 position, 3 position, 3 position. You've got a ton of 3 position switches all around the radio. You've got 2 pots up the top, a slider on each side, if that's kind of floats your boat. That does feel a little bit loose, actually. I would like that to be a little bit more resistant. We've got a momentary switch on the back here and a 2-position switch on this side. So that's it. On the front here, this is a big one. If I turn this on, you can see you've got a couple little buttons up here. You can use those for some things as well. It's rocking OpenTX, but at the moment there is no update for it on Companion, because it's not there yet, but it is coming out soon with that software. We've got a metal scroll wheel right here, which if I can get that in shot, is very easy to go through and sort of choose your menus, all that sort of stuff. It is touchscreen, which is a biggie, but it's not currently working in the firmware at the moment. So it's going to be an update soon where you can have a touchscreen as well. And then we've got under here, under these little jokes I've got of my personalized bit, let's put that to the side. We've just got our model button, system button, return, page backwards, and a telemetry button as well. All in all, that stuff is fairly standard. Now here's some of the magic that I really do like. If we flip it over, I'm going to turn this on, and the screen is really big and bright as well. You can see that, and you can even see it in the daylight, which is going to be important when we go out to the field. You'll see just how bright this screen is. Trev, myself, and Tony will be commenting on it. If we open this up right here, one thing you will notice is the battery bay is significantly bigger than the Jumper T16. So if I can get this off right here. Why is that so stiff? There we go. If you look at the battery bays, there is a lot more room to put your LiPo in or whatever it is. So I do think the battery bay is going to be better on the Radiomaster as well. I'll put this one to the side. And also, something I absolutely love, and I think this is one of my favorite additions of this radio, you don't have to go out and buy a special charger, because you've got some little ports underneath right here. I should put that in so I don't break my battery, actually. Let's do this. You've got a bit of foam on the back of your little battery pad, which is nice as well, makes it nice and snug. Nothing's going to be rolling around or breaking. But underneath here, you have a micro SD card, of course, for your OpenTX, but also you have a little charging USB-C charging port. So all you've got to do is plug this in. It takes a 2S LiPo or some of your 18650s, and you can just charge it straight off the bat by plugging it in by USB at the bottom. I love that because why? Well, I'm kind of a lazy dude, and when it comes to charging batteries, it's a pain. First world problem, take it out of your radio, put it in your no, I don't want to do that. Can I just plug the USB in? Bob's your uncle. You're off to the races. You are done. Your radio is charging. Now, one of the other features I really like about this radio as well is at the top we have our little SIM port. So if you want to plug this radio up to the SIM, you simply plug your USB in the top of the radio. And why that is important, because when you're sitting at the computer, you're flying around your sim, a lot of those other silly radios, you've got to plug the USB in the bottom. It's going to snap off because it's resting against your chest. This one, because it's at the top, you simply plug your USB in and you can fly around on the sim, do a bit of practice at home. So I think that is a definite plus for this radio. Now let's go through some of the features as well that we might have missed. I guess some of the internals and some of the things that this radio is special for. In the upgrades of this version, because we've got the Hall Effect version, there's a touch screen in here that makes a big difference, and also a big difference between this and the Jumper T16. This radio, I'm going to say, is a bit more reliable because it doesn't have unnecessary ribbon cables inside. That was a problem that some people, I haven't had this problem, but some people have had that with their jumpers. It is full of ribbon cables right all over the place. They've tried to minimize this. There is kind of just a few. There's one for the touch screen, and I'll put another bit on the screen somewhere else, but the amount of ribbon cables inside here is far less than the other radios, so it should hold up a little bit longer in the long run in terms of reliability. Now on the band, now a big one for a lot of people out there, and I should have showed this actually when I had the radio on, is this feature right here. So it is a multi-protocol radio. So when you are in, you can bind this up to anything. So whether it be FreeSky, whether it be Futaba, whatever you're going to be flying around, FlySky, which are probably the main ones for our drones. You can also put a Crossfire module in the back, but if I go in here, let's see if we go down, and hopefully this is gonna, here we go. So we've got multi-protocol, and you can choose FreeSky. There is a whole bunch of different stuff, different FreeSkys fly. There's like a whole little list anyway. I'll put it on the screen. All these different things that you can bind up to. I've got to go back to, I've probably just lost all my models doing this actually. There we go, FreeSky. I think that was a D8. No, here we go. There we go. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of things on here you can bind up to, which makes it really easy. If you've got whoops at home, if you've got planes, if you've already got some old little toy crafts, you can have one radio to rule them all. Now look, that's kind of it on the bench. What I want to do, let's go out to the field. We're going to fly this thing around, and I want to show you my impressions. We're going to show you Grumpy Trev's impressions, and we're also going to show you Long Range Tony's impressions. And that's going to be important because you might be in the market for a new radio, and we're going to find out just how well does this go. It's one thing to have the radio in your hands and sort of moving around and say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. But when you are on the sticks and flying, that is when you're going to notice what pilots are feeling about it, what it's like in their hands, and I guess giving you some valuable feedback. So we're going to do that. We'll go watch them, get all our impressions, and then we're going to come back here and we're going to sum it up with some pros and cons and find out, is this the right radio for you to get in 2020, the TX16S, and how is it going to go? So let's do it. Go have some fun in 3, 2, 1. Radio out here in the field. One I'm excited to show you guys. This is going to be my TX16S, the field part. I'm going to be flying around, giving you my impressions. We'll hand over to Grumpy Trev, and then also we're meeting up with a Long Range Tony. We'll get his impressions on this radio. Seems to be a lot of people are interested. We'll talk about how it goes versus the original Jumper, what it's like, spring tensions, and who this radio is really for, especially for the price too, because it is fairly competitive. So let's do it and find out and have some fun with the Radiomaster T16XS. Well, it's getting confusing. TX16S. All right, let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Boop. I will say I love the big bright screen. Even on a sunny day, it's still very, very easy to see, which is something I thought might be a bit of a problem. I've got flying around the Catalyst Machine Works Mofo, and I've got to say, first impressions in the hands, it feels weighty. It feels like it's got some, this sounds weird, but like some mass in there, but it feels like you're not holding a cheap toy. It's got some nice finishes on here. Let's do it. Go for a bit of a spin. The stick tension is, I got a bug jumping in the gimbals there. The stick tension is probably a little bit looser than what I would normally like, but I think I'll be able to overcome that pretty quickly. Now, here we go, we're on F1. Let me just double check that, because you never trust auto scan. Friends don't let friends auto scan. And we are on Fat Shark 1. DVR is rolling. All right, you're all clear, Trevor?
Yep, go.
I think I've only just hovered this one, so I'm gonna stand back a little bit. Okay.
I'll stand behind you. Stu.
Yeah, sounds safe.
Look at that, props on like that.
That's it. All right, so I'm just going to I better make sure my DVR's recording, even though I'm sure I pressed that. Yep, we are, we're all good to go. All right, flying around with the Mofo, which I'm not too sure what that might stand for. Please don't let me know in the comments. And I got to remember to focus. I really want to focus on the radio itself. All right, so gimbals. Gimbals feel smooth. You do notice, I don't know what the technical term is, but you do notice a little click in the middle when you're moving it from left to right. And I have been flying around this for a little bit, I guess a few practices, but there's, I don't know what it's like if you tap it in the middle, you can feel where the center point of your stick is. And that's not so apparent on a radio like the Tango 2. Let's go for a little bit of a range test out here. We won't bother the sheep too much. And all right, the range so far is probably more than, you know, you really want to fly FPV. I don't think I want to fly much further than that when I'm flying around, especially if you're going to be going to the races. No brownouts or anything like that, which is something that did start happening on my Jumper T16. As a thumb pilot, the gimbals are probably taller than what I am used to, but I think absolutely if this was your first radio, you're not going to notice any difference. You're not going to have any particular preference or thing that you like or don't like, and you'll be able to pick this up straight away. As far as beginner goes, or I guess you got to look at the price. If you've got some multi-protocol stuff, it's definitely going to come in handy, because I know for me, this is what I bound all my D8 models up to. Why? Because FrSky is just stupid and they stopped making their radios compatible with it. So I think if you've got a few things you want to pick up a new radio, you definitely can't go wrong if you've already got a lot of models as well. And yeah, I think for the price, absolutely you can't complain. It's crazy how much things are coming down in price, and also the reliability as well, because in the past a lot of people didn't like multi-protocol, and I know I said that weird, multi-protocol radios, because they're worried about their what would you call it, range issues and dropouts. But so far flying this around doesn't seem to be a problem whatsoever. It's just, for me, the only noticeable part would be the center of the stick ends, if you're really thinking about it. But most of the time if you're flying, you wouldn't even notice it. So, and as far as a critique from the radio, I would say a solid thumbs up and a solid option. Very similar to the, it feels similar anyway on the sticks to the Jumper T16. And you can absolutely see why, because it's the Radiomaster's version of the T16. So it's all very, very similar to what we have, but absolutely I welcome any competition into the hobby when it comes to this sort of thing. But what we should do, that's you've seen the bench part, you've seen my impressions. Let's hand it over to some of the other pilots and see what they think, because they all fly different radios. What radio do you fly, Trev?
I've got the Travis little X-Lite.
Oh yeah, so you got an X-Lite, and we'll also check in with Tony, who's got like a big special edition FrSky one as well. So it's going to be interesting. We've got pinchers, thumbers, all that sort of stuff, and see what they think. So let me bring this in. I feel like I could fly this thing for days, and we'll get some other impressions on the radio. It's going to suit people too with bigger hands, because you've really got to reach for those some of those switches and stuff. I don't know if you can see that I really felt like I had to reach a little bit further than what I'm used to on some of my other smaller things, like on the Tango 2. But it's definitely, that part is just personal preference. But yeah, solid choice radio with plenty of customization too. It's not just going to be for us drone pods. We don't need that many switches, but if you're into wings, maybe you're going to be using something with gimbals, return to home, GPS, this has you absolutely covered with everything you want to do, and easy scroll wheels and stuff to navigate the menus. And I don't know if that's coming through, but for me, absolutely no problem. It is easier in the shade. Let's have a look in the light here.
I can see it from here.
You can?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more than enough to read on a day like today. And it is a glorious sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. So yeah, overall for me, a thumbs up. Are you ready to have a Vince? What do you reckon? First impressions?
Yeah, I really do like the feel of this. I've actually been watching the progress of these for a little while now, and I've got a lot of interest in this, because I wouldn't mind one myself at the moment. I haven't tried one yet, so this will be a bit of a telling for me how good this is.
Okay.
It does feel good. So let's fly it, see what happens.
All right. And what do you think about multi-protocol as well?
I love the idea. So it doesn't matter what you're going to buy, it's going to work in it.
Yep.
That's what impresses me about it. I wouldn't be thinking about it if it wasn't multi-protocol.
All right, it's up to you. Up to you to take off. And I want to hear, we're not really talking about the drone, it's mainly about the radio.
Yep, I like it already. Actually, your comment about the sticks, they do feel a little bit high. I guess that's adjustable anyway.
Yes.
Because I'm a thumber as well. I do like, yeah, it's nice and smooth. It does feel nice in the hands, I've got to say. It's hard to describe a radio. Look, it feels comfortable. It really does.
Do you prefer this over your X Lite? If you had to choose, you could just take one home today. Would you choose this, or would you choose an X Lite?
I'd have to choose this only because of the multi-protocol thing.
All right.
I'm pretty happy flying anything. I mean, I just flew with the Tango, and that felt good too. But multi-protocol really does. What's the word I'm looking for? It's what I'm looking for at the moment.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's what I'm looking for. All right.
Yeah.
So what about though if you were a beginner and you didn't have any other drones at home?
Oh, look, you can't go wrong. With something like this, this does. Look, they've done their homework. They've done as far as grip goes. It really feels solid too, like not a piece of plastic. This thing. If you're a first timer, the radio's pretty cheap for what it is, and you're getting Hall effect gimbals straight off the bat for what, $120 or something, was it?
Something like that. Yep.
Man, it's got flat.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, well, I really am impressed with this now. So, guys from Radiomaster, I think you should send one of these to Grumpy Trev.
Okay.
But look, I do like it. I reckon they've done a great job of it. It's a good looking radio as well. Plus, you can see the screen. I mean, look how light it is.
I wonder if that is coming up on the camera. I know I can see that.
Yeah.
But...
I know there's future software versions coming out too that this screen is going to be touchscreen, which will enable it in the software. So that's pretty cool. Or on the firmware, the new firmware. That's 2 upgrades away, I think. But yeah, nice radio.
All right, nice. Thanks, Trev. Oh, we forgot performance and value out of 10. As usual.
Value.
Performance.
This.
And you got a huge mosquito on your neck.
Performance.
Right, yep.
Well, look, I reckon it's good. It does everything a radio should do. So I can't complain. It's as good as my X-Lite and others that I've flown. I reckon it's a 10, and value for money, definitely a 10.
All right.
10 plus because.
So that's a 2020 radio.
Really
there.
good value.
2020 for 2020.
Yeah.
Really. All right, that would be Radio must be happy with that. Maybe they'll send you one. Maybe.
Look, I do. I reckon they're nice.
Too easy. All right, thanks, Trev. Let's go find that drone that you flattened.
Yeah.
Rightio, time for the second part of the review, finding out what other pilots think about it. Today in the field, we've got long range Tony. So here it is, the jumper. I shouldn't say jumper.
No. This is the Radiomaster.
Radiomaster, cut, beep. So here it is, the Radiomaster T16S. Very similar to the jumper, but tell me what you know about it, and then what it's like on the sticks. We'll get you flying around, all that sort of stuff. So I want to know impressions, and then what you've learned.
So I didn't know this thing existed until earlier this week, and I saw an online video. I did know the jumper TX, and I saw that Radiomaster split from them, and they brought out their own one. After I saw the first review, I thought I might need to get myself one of these multi-protocol radio with a JR bay in the back, Hall effect gimbals. I think some of them have a touchscreen. I don't know if this one does.
Yep.
And it just looks like a really good radio. Now it's in my hands. It feels very sturdy. It doesn't feel light and cheap and sort of cheap plastic. And Stu, you got a mozzie on your forehead.
No, I'm trying to bring you into the sun, bro. You're
dead.
facing the shade. There we go. Yep.
So yeah, it looks like it ticks all the boxes. So it runs OpenTX. Yeah, I love it. It looks awesome. It's got similar number of switches to the Tyrannus that I'm used to, and it feels not dissimilar in the hands. The gimbals feel great, and a nice roller. Let's give it a go. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Yes, away we go.
Right. Too easy. All right, so I want to focus on the radio itself. So you're flying around Caddis Machine Works Mofo.
Yep.
But I want to know, how does this radio for you feel on the sticks? What's it like in your hands?
Oh, look.
All that sort of stuff.
Again, because this is a different radio, the stick tension is a little bit different to my normal radio, but they're buttery smooth. They've got the Hall effect gimbals in them, which just feel so magic. Really, really smooth in the hand. I'm a thumber rather than a pincher, and you know, the stick length straight out the box is kind of perfect for me. Maybe a little bit long, but feels good. The grip's quite nice. I don't have massive hands or short hands, and it certainly feels very comfortable in the grip. A bit thicker, I would say, than the Tyrannus that I'm used to flying with.
Okay.
But yeah, all the switches and knobs seem to be in the same place. Yeah, it feels really nice. I don't know what it's like for range. We haven't done a range test with it, but this is really nice. Like, if you were going to buy a new radio, I don't know how the price compares to the the Tyrannus.
It's cheaper than the Tyrannus.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look, if that's the case,
Or your Tyrannus anyway.
yeah, if it's the case, it's cheaper than the Tyrannus. Being multi-protocol, it's got a lot of advantages because I run 2 radios. I've got a Free Sky and a Fly Sky, and the Fly Sky is really for the smaller indoor quads. So it'd be nice to just have the one radio with all the models on it. And then again have the ability to put a 900 megahertz system in the back. Really makes this a good combination, I think. So yeah, I like it. It's really nice.
Do you think it's made for just drone pilots, or because I know all those wings we can see in the background here in the video? Do you think this would be more suited to them, or who do you feel who's the key audience member for this?
This is someone that just loves radio control. Somebody that can use a single radio with every model they've got, be it fixed wing, be it a quad, slope soarer, whatever. It's got plenty of functions on it. It's got sliders on the shoulders. It's got the 2 switches up on the tops of each corner. Yeah, look, anyone could fly this. I actually think it'd be quite good for a fixed wing pilot. And particularly like the fact it's got a great big display on the front and touch screen. It's something that the Tyrannus doesn't have, and it's got the roller down the bottom, which makes navigating the menus that little bit easier. So yeah, I really like it. Really nice and smooth.
Would you recommend this? What about if you were just into drones?
If you're just into drones,
because I know a lot of people are going to say this or the Tango 2. If you're just into drones.
If you're just into drones, maybe a Tango 2 is good.
Fixed wing,
but if you ever think you're into fixed wings or
plus multi-protocol, I guess,
or fly a wing, yeah.
All right.
Really nice.
Final thoughts on the radio?
I really like it. I'm actually quite keen to put an offer in for you, Stu.
Yeah, get out. Too easy. All right.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Tony.
Look, really nice form factor. It feels solid. It doesn't feel cheap at all. Lots of connectivity.
Oh, it can also charge by USB, which is something that the original jumper didn't do.
And USB-C as well. Yeah, which is great. I love the nice colour screen. I really like it. It's a great looking radio. It's got.
Do you prefer it over the original jumper?
Oh, definitely.
Do you?
Yeah. It feels.
What makes it the difference?
For me, I think it just. I don't know. It feels different. I can't recall too well, but it just definitely feels really solid in the hand. I felt the other jumper felt a little cheaper.
Okay.
But this for me feels really nice. It's a nice weight. The buttons and the sticks are in the right spot. It's got really nice gimbals, and I love the screen. Really cool. I love it. Yeah, cool.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Radio, so that was it in the field, and overall I got to give a massive thumbs up to Radiomaster. The Tx16S, the names are getting a little bit confusing, is a top-notch radio. Is it better than the Jumper T16? I'm going to say yes. Is the price awesome? Yes, it's got touchscreen built in. You get Hall effect gimbals for a very, very cheap price. $129 for a multi-protocol radio. Works with Crossfire. You definitely cannot complain. Now, it's not all sunshine though. There are some things that I don't like, but they are few and far between. So first things first, when it's in your hand, if you have small hands, I feel like this radio, the reach across here, the sticks are a little bit higher. I've tried to wind them down as much as I can, but it's made for a large hand. People, if you're a small kid, it's going to be a little bit more tricky than something like a TBS Tango 2. The gimbals are fairly loose as well as default, and also the other part on the sticks, the gimbals feel great, but I'm going to say these sticks are super spiky. I'm going to need to file those down or something, because pressing them into my hands, you definitely notice it. After you're doing a few packs, you're going to end up with some little almost cuts on your fingers. These sticks are very, very sharp. They're not going to be slipping. Your thumbs aren't going to be flying off there anytime soon, but you're going to feel it because they are very, very pointy. Now that's about it in terms of things that I don't like. Things that I do like. I love multi-protocol. I love the price. I love the Hall effect gimbals. I love the USB charging, the USB port at the top, everything in this radio. It's doing it right for a lot of people out. So all in all, I'm going to say my advice, who should get this radio? If you are in the market for looking for a well-priced value radio, look, there is cheaper radios definitely for out there, but a multi-protocol radio, you can use Crossfire later if you want to. It can bind up to anything. All those pluses, and you want to get Hall effect gimbals or the standard version for coming in at like $100 or the $130, you really can't go wrong. Is it better than the Jumper T16? Yes. If you've already got the Jumper T16 though, is it worth upgrading? And that's where I'm going to say no. There is no real reason. I think the benefits you get from upgrading from this radio to this radio. They are a very, very similar radio. There's no reason to go and upgrade. If you already got one of these, you don't need to go out and get one of these radios. This thing is still going to serve you fine. And also we have the Jumper T18 coming out in a little bit as well, which some people might want to wait and see just how that goes. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but that should be here soon coming up as well. So overall, I gotta say, thumbs up to Radiomaster. It's getting more people into the hobby. It's offering us a good value radio that a lot of people like. So overall, that's it on the bench. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. Oh, a big plus too, you can actually get this radio because the Jumper T16 was a little bit hard to find and buy. A lot of stores weren't carrying it, but it seems the Radiomaster seems to be at a lot more shops. So anyway, on that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying.